Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast. My name's Tim and I'm from the TechBytes blogazine, and with me is Dr. Roy Shestowitz from the TechBytes website.
It's Friday night and I'm gonna get sauce. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his creeper bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge, I fought the troll and the...
Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the TechBytes audiocast. I'm Tim and I'm here with Roy, and unfortunately no Gordon today. He's not in the channel, so we're going to press on with a supplemental show to yesterday's one. And start straight away. I mean, you're quite lucky to have me here today, and I say that very arrogantly because last night was a big event in my year calendar, and that was the Royal Rumble, the wrestling, which is one of my guilty pleasures. And I'm actually quite tired today. So if I make any Freudian slips or make any incorrect remarks, please be gentle on me because I'm quite tired and I'm still seeing everything in a bit of a fog. So without further ado, what we'll do is Roy hopefully is on the other end. We're going to crack straight on with the show, and Roy's got some topics he wants to bring up. Roy, all yours.
Yeah, well, we have to sort of apologize. Yesterday we didn't cover much of the Linux side of news, and I just realized this show. We talked about copyrights, we talked about all sorts of things which we haven't touched on in about a week now. But we have lots of things to do with, we have lots of things to cover which have something to do with Linux or with open source in general. And I just wanted to bring up quite a few of these as I kind of go back and look at the news headlines from the past week. And one of them is KDE 4.6, which was released quite a few days ago. I heard some good reviews about it so far. Things like Plasma actually having a really nice performance boost. Plasma, for those who don't know or don't use KDE, is mostly the name given to the manager of the workspaces and the experience of the desktop. So it is very separate from the application and some of the underlying technologies, things like sounds and how you handle the rendering of perhaps the windows and things like that. Plasma is what it appears to be to the user. It includes things like the panels and how you interact with things, drag and drop the items in all sorts of places. And as a very avid KDE user for over 10 years now, it was really important for me to see how the project is shaping up very, very nicely. And with the support of the Qt team, which now works in Nokia, they carry on improving these things, and in my opinion, actually deliver the best desktop you could get, either proprietary or free. I know, Tim, you don't exactly like KDE. Could you explain why, though?
Well, I may be going back on my words, but first I'll say why I've had an issue in the past with KDE. For some reason, whatever it was now, I sort of settled with a GNOME or an XFCE desktop. I found KDE, to me, looked to, and I'll put this in quotes, Vista-esque, and reminded me of the very bad experience I had with Vista. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that KDE copied it or vice versa, but it just put me in mind, and it felt very plastic. It was probably some sort of mental barrier hang-up that I had using the desktop, but I sort of settled with GNOME and got stuck in my ways and was rather stubborn and dug my heels in. Having said that, I'm pleased you brought up the new version 4.6 because I'm now starting to have a look at it. It certainly is rather tempting. Maybe my previous comments on KDE and not wanting to move to it, that's certainly changing now. I'm certainly looking more favourably towards it. So that was basically the crux of my opinion on it. I still like a lighter desktop. I'm not sure whether I would deploy it permanently onto my main rig.
4.8, I think, was released quite recently, and that's supposed to be, at least the stigma it got. It's a lot lighter than anything else you could use, including GNOME and KDE, and still be very rich in terms of experience and features and things like that. Of course, you can go very light and you can just go command line, but this would be considered very deficient for a user who expects kind of desktops and menus and all kinds of 3D effects. And So this was released quite recently. It's available for one of the previous version of Ubuntu and the current one as well. So they do try to pass it on to people who might be using that, and try and also in Ubuntu. Of course, in Ubuntu you can also install either KDE Desktop or KDE or Kubuntu Desktop, which are different packages, but they both kind of give you the same kind of experience of KDE on Ubuntu if you want to try something else.
I mean, I'll say why my views of GNOME are starting to shift a little bit now. I run Sabian. I can never remember how to pronounce the name properly, but that's for me that's GNOME based. And I found when I've been using my netbook quite a lot and been running Peppermint, and I think I've mentioned it quite a few times in the show before, which is off OpenBox if memory serves me correctly. Now on my little netbook, which has just got a modest processor compared to my desktop rig, things like Chromium boot virtually instantly, and everything feels a lot punchier than what I regarded as a very fast distro on my desktop machine, Sabian. I'm wondering whether it's the desktop environment that's holding me back a little bit, and I'm maybe looking towards going towards a lighter environment, not because it's slow or unacceptable, but just because I've seen quicker within Peppermint, which is Ubuntu based OpenBox. So I might be looking elsewhere. The last time I used XFCE was when I was running Wolvix on my main rig, but that hasn't been updated or still hasn't been updated for about a year, so I sort of shifted away from there. The community at the time seemed to be drying up a little bit, so I moved to Sabian, and
I think
must say I've been very happy.
Released recently, or I did come across some beta, or there is some development resurgence in a way. I'm sure you did see something about a release being spread around.
There was one. If memory serves me correct, 19th of March 2010, I believe was the last release, and it was a beta release. I'm just hurriedly trying to get up the Wolvix site. There was a promise on the website, on the news section, about how it's going to come back into development, etc., and how they were starting the project. Well, not starting the project up, but continuing it running. That was on the 19th of March of last year. I think by then I'd already moved away because it was obvious to me that it wasn't as developed as actively. It wasn't contributed to as actively as I would have liked. Now, before anybody suggests, well, why didn't I get involved in that then if I thought that? I would love to, but I just don't have the time. What I would say, though, is Wolvix still in its current state, even if it hasn't been updated, an absolute fantastic distro for a netbook or a machine with more modest specifications. I've been very impressed with it, and I was very impressed with it for about the year that I ran it on my desktop. So I'll put a link to it in the show notes, and it's certainly still worth checking out. It's a great little fast, stable release, the latest version. So have a little look and a little play on that. Sorry, Rod.
Yeah, well, have you been paying attention to all the phones being hacked now and people trying to put desktop environments on them? And one of them, of course, is Enlightenment, which also makes a kind of a comeback with one of the flavors or one of the derivatives now of Ubuntu. Have you heard about that? I think it's called Bodhi or Bodhi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And that's that's like the fifth one I'm aware of that's supposed to be a notable derivative of Ubuntu that's based on Enlightenment. The other ones pretty much perish after a while because not enough people use them and there isn't enough reason to maintain them. But one of the things that I kind of miss Enlightenment because it's been like, I think about 8 to 9 years since I last used that. And it was extremely well developed at the time. It was extremely advanced, virtual desktops, and it looked fantastic. Everything from the startup screen and the desktop, and I could actually try and use that again. But none of the mainstream distros use that. I don't think we don't really have even Eli bringing out new releases. I think for like half a year they have not had a release, and that's based on Debian. That's the main one that was developing.
Yeah, I'm just trying. You now put me on the spot. I'm racking my brain as to anything that I've used recently with with enlightenment. It's funny you mentioned eLive though, because I had quite a bit to say about that at the time when I gave that a run on OpenBytes. As people that are unfortunate enough to read my site might realise, I've done quite a few reviews on distros, and I do enjoy when I've got the time to sit down and try a new one. I don't distro hop so much now, but certainly giving the latest ones a try. But I was very, very disappointed with eLive by the way it's delivered on its site, and just very briefly I'll say why.